Samsung's Galaxy S23 versus Xiaomi 13. Which of these phones has the better camera setup? The main cameras, the ultra-wide cameras, the telephoto setups, some macros, some portraits, selfies, in the mix to help us decide which one has mastered the camera craftsmanship in a better way. Let's inspect. Hey, welcome, really nice to meet you. Michael is my name, and these are two of the most interesting compact camera smartphones of 2023. And I know you're eager to begin this comparison, but let me spend a few seconds first and tell you how exactly this video is going to happen. First, we're going to start comparing each one of the cameras in various lighting conditions, from photos taken in bright days down to very challenging low light scenarios. Also, we're going to pay attention to the special smartphone camera app features for these smartphones, and of course paying attention to the trendy modes like portrait mode, like macro photography, telephoto setups, and of course slow motion. And in case you want to check some of these samples by yourself, you can head over to the video description area where I'm going to upload most of those raw samples. Let's go now. We begin with the main cameras. A quick reminder about the hardware deployed: both have similarly sized image sensors, with Xiaomi's device standing out for its like-tuned lens and color science. Image signal processing is about the same for both phones, so it might be a close call. This is the first set of samples. They look great and are quite similar. Color science is a little different though. The Galaxy phone taken photo appears a little sharper. Even if we zoom in to see more details, both sides retain a lot of those. Therefore, another example, cloudy weather, and at the first sight Galaxy S23 appears to do the better job. But zoom in and carefully check the photo on the right. Let's add some extra processing and you're gonna notice the overall image getting better. Still, if we apply the very same treatment to the S23 photo, yeah, again, it has the edge. My conclusion is that despite the inferior image sensor, Galaxy S23 has a lot better processing and the main camera photos are a little better in daytime. At dark, both phones try really hard to get you stunning shots. I noticed that in night mode, Galaxy S23 needs a second or two longer than Xiaomi 13 for processing. At the first sight, the Samsung phone taken picture looks a little nicer and more natural. The zoom in, however, shows slightly more details on the Xiaomi 13 side. Although the image is softer, some of the letters and numbers are actually readable. If we switch to motion, understand video recordings, 4K 30 frames per second is decent with both, and I have to admit that although too sharp for my taste, the video on the left appears to be better with excellent exposure and very good dynamic range, whereas Xiaomi 13 seems to struggle. Image stabilization is very decent with both phones. And one more big advantage for S23 is the almost 50% higher bitrate than what the Mi device produces. We observe almost identical performance for daytime videography, and here Xiaomi 13 footage is a little sharper. My personal opinion from the many photos taken is that the clear advantage of Samsung is the photo processing indeed. It is heavier than what Xiaomi apply, but most of the photos look great taken from the first attempt, while with the Mi 13 I had to often retake some of them because of blurriness or other issues. While pure performance is almost identical no matter the light source, Samsung deserved the win because of the better software optimization and implementation of the image processing. Switching now to the ultra-wide shooters, here the theory says that Xiaomi 13 must have the edge because of the bigger image sensor size. As usual, we begin with shots taken during the day, and the Mi phone tends to underexpose, but the clouds and the sky look more realistic. When I applied a quadruple zoom, I was quite surprised to notice the greater color accuracy and the more details present with the S23. I had to increase the exposure by 1 in order to get both photos look similar. If I leave the default exposure levels, the difference is even more notable. Low light, on the other hand, is tougher to rate. Xiaomi's camera seems to offer a wider dynamic range, while Samsung processing adds more sharpness and colors. In some areas the image looks artificially painted, and still I overall feel happier with the Samsung S23's captured photos. So it's gonna be the video performance to define which is the ultra-wide camera test winner. Look at the grass, the overall exposure, and when we zoom in, the advantage on the Xiaomi 13 side is notable, however only if exposure is well adjusted. And the low light scenario confirms that stabilization and image quality are a bit better implemented on the S23. The main and the ultra-wide camera results have been so far very close, and both tests seem to show slightly better results on the Xiaomi device. Can the telephoto camera test turn things around for Xiaomi 13? At the first sight, probably, but we zoom in and notice how Xiaomi tried to mask the 3.2x telephoto camera struggles through increasing the sharpness. Switch to night mode, and it is about the same condition. Xiaomi 13 is sharper, amount of details and texture is about the same as with the Samsung device. The latter one nails it when it comes to night video footage. Clarity is unmatched. In daytime, S23's image looks more natural, less grainy, although exposure is better with the Xiaomi 13. But I think that when it comes to the telephoto setup, S23 once again wins by a narrow margin. There is one more set of sensors left to be exposed, the front cameras. Samsung is leading the show here. Colors, texture, exposure, it's all nicer looking on the left, where we see the S23 samples. Selfie camera testing and microphone quality testing. Currently I'm recording this with Galaxy S23, and this is how the microphone sounds on a rather windy day. And now switching to Xiaomi 13 in order to find out whether it has the better selfie camera and the better sounding microphone or not. And now I expect you to tell me in the comments below which of both smartphones do you like better for vlogging through the front selfie camera. If these samples are not enough to help you to see the whole picture, I'm gonna go deeper with some more smartphone app details and samples. MIUI camera app versus the One UI camera app. There certainly are a lot of similarities, but also a few unique features that you may adore. Samsung go very much in the iPhone way, allowing you to crop a person or object from a photo and add whatever background you like. There are the great Pro modes letting you take pictures, and also a professional mode for videographers, something that puts it into a position of being better than most other Android smartphone makers. On top, 24 frames per second video recording is natively supported, which is essential for cinematic looking footage. There is one more extremely important factor, just notice the camera launch speed. Concerning MIUI's camera app, it's getting there, among the richest in terms of features. Also equipped with Video Pro mode, Xiaomi bring in for the first time the option to record in 24 frames per second in 4K, which puts the phone on par with iPhones and Galaxy S series. And there's the special Leica color science treatment, which undeniably helps a lot to tune the photos and make them look a lot nicer as compared to the 12th series. I've always criticized the skin tones in the photos taken by Mi devices. Now they look great. Speaking of skin tones, the dedicated portrait modes of both devices are quite different, with S23 letting you choose between 1x zoom and a 3x zoom and producing just lovely outcomes, and Xiaomi relying mostly on their telephoto camera sensor with added software blur and slight involvement of the other cameras, but the outcome is not that good in conditions other than a sunny day. Usually, in order to get a good portrait with the Xiaomi 13, I have to make at least a few snaps, while S23 produces great results almost every single time. I guess here Xiaomi should really redo their algorithms, or at least do as Samsung do and let us choose which camera is going to be used for taking the portrait. Macro seems to be among the rather ignored topics with both phones. Here, the best practice would be to use the main camera sensor, keep the phone as close as possible to the object and still being able to focus, and use the 2x zoom at least. This is how you can fully take advantage of the high megapixel main cameras and also rely on optical image stabilization to eliminate the effect of movements or shaky hands. Overall, both apps are doing great, both of them are functional, but if I was looking to get a phone well suited for social media snaps and videos, I'd probably trust Samsung's experience about this. As a conclusion, I believe that Samsung played their cards really well with designing the Galaxy S23, because it's a fact they have used most of the hardware from S22 in terms of camera setup, but now paired with Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 and its much superior image processing, I think that makes almost the perfect flagship setup at a compact size. The price is also rather tempting compared to the competition, starting at $799, often discounted down to $699 with some trade-in programs by Samsung, which make it even more tempting, while Xiaomi 13 starts at $1,000. And you can see that adding Leica as branding and probably getting their involvement with color science development and the optics development is not enough in order to beat Samsung. And I feel that this camera here has a lot of potential, so really look forward to seeing what's going to happen through the year with all the software updates, because I believe this could be a lot better camera setup in many ways, and I think Xiaomi should start with fixing their portrait mode at least. So that's my opinion. Galaxy S23 with the better performing camera, the better battery life, the better price, the much nicer display, the slightly better performance, and of course the better software support. It's a no-brainer for $799 or a bit less than that over the $1,000 Xiaomi 13, which obviously has a little bit bigger display and maybe some other unique features, but still not capable of justifying its price tag yet. At least that's my opinion. You can share yours in the comment section below the video. And of course, if you want to explore all these samples by yourself, be invited. They're downloadable from the video description area. And I thank you very much for watching this episode till the end. I hope it makes good sense and you have seen some interesting facts. And really can't wait to see you in the next video with more cool tech inspections. I'm Michael and wish you a fantastic day. Bye.